Hello, everyone. Hello, Robert. Good to see you.
Hi, Nicola.
Welcome to Constellations Conversations with Robert Rowland Smith and myself, Nicola Dunn. Today, we just agreed, haven't we, Robert, that we're going to talk about secrets and lies. So I'm going to start us off. I was just pausing for a moment and thinking, a secret is something, perhaps, that we believe, if we're thinking personally, belongs to us. And a lie is often considered that which an other believes is shared information. So I was just thinking about that in terms of how issue holders arrive with us and how information evolves within a constellation.
Yes, secret belongs to us. Let me go with that notion first. The word secret is related to secreted, things which are secreted, and indeed the word secretary, somebody who puts things away for you. And so if I make a distinction between a secret and an enigma, for example, a secret is not necessarily enigmatic. It's just been placed somewhere which only we have access to. So it's secret insofar as it's secreted. But it's not necessarily enigmatic or difficult to understand. So, for example, I might have a secret that I had an affair with somebody. Were I to reveal it, devastating though it might be to hear, it wouldn't be enigmatic. It's just something you don't yet know, which I have held back, so I've secreted it. An enigma remains enigmatic even when it's shared. So, for example, most famous painting of the world is the Mona Lisa, known for its enigmatic smile of Lady Lisa. And of course, that's paradox because it's incredibly well known, couldn't be more public, couldn't be less secret, and yet it remains enigmatic or mysterious in some way. So there's nothing secret about it, but it's enigmatic. So there's a distinction between a secret and an enigma. So the point about the secret is that as you say, it belongs to me. And what belongs to me is the decision over whether and when and with whom to share it. Because I don't have to. I can go to the grave with secrets, for example.
And then we understand through constellation work that there are certain secrets that have a very strong systemic impact. And therefore, it opens up to a question as to whether the secret just belongs to the individual.
Yeah.
And if we ran with your example, if the affair leads to a child and the person concerned, you're speaking from a male perspective, already has a family and other children, or will have other children later, that secret has systemic impact. And therefore, there are maybe almost consequences, impacts of that not being brought out into the open.
Yeah, and that's interesting because let's take that example again. I'm having or have had an affair. Before I reveal that secret, if I do, presumably there will have been a number of lies I would have told as well. Where are you going tonight? I'm going to see an old friend for dinner.
I'm running a constellations workshop.
I'm running a constellations workshop. I'm going to the football.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, right. Okay. So I've told a number of lies before I've revealed the secret that I'm having an affair. And it's interesting, you say the secret belongs to me. I think the lie, this sounds like a sort of clever phrase, but I think probably the first person we lie to is ourselves. We test the lie on ourselves. I'm going to say I'm going to, football match tonight. How does that sound?
Yes.
I've tested it out. Now I'm going to hoodwink the other person. I'm going to the football tonight. So the lie, I think, is probably belongs to me, at least insofar as it's tested, and then the lie is shared. So the lie is not secret. In a way, the lie is always public. A lie is performative.
Yes, it is performative.
So that would be an interesting distinction between the two. In fact, we lie willingly in that sense. I'm sharing an untruth because I want the untruth to be accepted as truth.
Well, the lie is in service of the secret.
And the lie is in service of the secret. Yeah, exactly. So secrets and lies go together in that sense. And the lie is the mask or the lock, the safe, the container for the secret, which it hides. Yeah.
And if we extended your example, it may be that in order to maintain some sense of integrity, you might drive to the football and then immediately drive away.
Yeah.
So it's now become something that you did go to the football.
Yeah. Yes. So we borrow a bit of truth to mitigate the lie a little bit. Yes. Now, secrets and lies, well, I think secrets come up a lot more in constellations than lies do, in my experience. And there are also there are kind of good and bad secrets probably in constellations. I mean, it's sort of a kind of golden rule in constellations that previous generations will have secrets that the children don't necessarily need to know about.
Sure.
They will hold things, parents or grandparents will hold things, and they can be intimate things. They can be things to do with their intimate life.
Yes.
They can also be, it could be a trauma or a difficulty, and they're not sharing them because they're not. There's no benefit in the sharing of them to the later generations. There's no benefit in the parents telling their, well, in the most egregious example, there's no benefit in the child knowing about their parents' sex life, for example. There's not necessarily benefit for the children knowing about the suffering of their parents, that there may be, but there may not be as well. So these are, as it were, secrets held in good faith, secrets as protection, secrets as guarding something which could be hurtful or painful later on. So not all secrets are bad, systemically speaking.
No, but we also understand that on another level, without it being put into words, children are emotionally aware of everything that goes on.
Yeah. Yes, and if you think of a secret as an excluded element, because if it's secreted, it's excluded from a field of knowledge or vision, or at least conscious knowledge and vision, then that supports, I think, what you said, because we see again and again, particularly children have an uncanny ability to pick up on excluded elements in a system. So, and it could be, a secret child, let's say a love child, for example, but also, I think a secret death, a secret disease, a secret addiction.
Yeah. Or a depression that's never named, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And of course, so then in our constellation work, we have this issue, don't we, where we see a subsequent generation member or members of a subsequent generation leaning into these that what's behind the secret. So the secret is almost like the container, and there's an event within the container, and often it's unprocessed. That's part of its secrecy. Integrated really into the life fully of that individual who is a member of the family, an important member of it. And we see children leaning into it and leaning out of their own life, their own fate, their own future.
Yeah, that's right. So they're, as it were, recruited a bit into it.
Yes, and I think Bert was always at pains to say they give themselves willingly, so we see it as that, and I guess it's a combination of traction and compulsion.
Yeah. Yes. And it is worth making the point that a secret is usually well, I'm testing this as I'm saying it. A secret, I think, is nearly always a secret truth. There's no point in a secret lie. The point of a lie is rhetorical persuasion being published.
Yes, Yes. So the secret is a truth. It's all. I think I would agree with you. I would sort of put £20 on the table and say
Yeah.
the secret is about a truth, often about something that has happened.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it can be true that you've lied and that becomes a secret. But no, that's just a wrinkle on it. Yes.
And a lie is so a secret is about truth, and a lie is about mistruth or deception.
Yeah, that's right. And it's the deception that counts there. Now, in constellations, often we will have secret thoughts and feelings that are then exposed. So, in a very recent constellation I did, we set up siblings, two sisters, and the issue holder, one of the sisters, had been at pains to say that she was the one who had the best interests of her sister at heart, and the best interests of the family. In fact, she was holding lots of secret judgment about this sister. And we had a classic sentence that we used, "I'm a little bit better than you," the sisters, which was the secret truth. I'm pretending to be helping you, loving you, looking after you, dear sister. Secretly, I'm better than you, I'm judging you, and my looking after you is a way of maintaining superiority over you. So there are secret, I think that's a pretty common trope in constellation, secret judgments we hold about other people, while not exactly lying about our position in the family, but presenting an image which is a bit more, sugar-coated or gilded than it is really the case.
Well, a lot of our constellation work is starting with the initial family relational presentation.
Yeah. Yes. So that's very interesting. So the presentation by the issue holder, if we were to be a bit dramatic about it, is maybe best heard by the constellator as a lie.
Ah, that's very bold, Robert.
Yeah. Because if we work with that hypothesis, they're lying to me, we also are getting the sense that they are distracting me or diverting me from a secret truth.
Yes. So I see it slightly more as advertising and PR.
Yeah, okay. Form of lying, in my view.
And so just this, and even not initiated from the issue holder, but passed down to them.
Right.
We are this kind of family.
Yes.
And or with this kind of company, or these are our motivations, these are our goals, this is why we're doing things. And then the reveal occurs obviously through the representation.
Yes, so lies and folklore, lies and law go together.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I've been thinking a lot recently how, most of us are either left or right-handed, mainly right-handed, I suppose. And in family, the way each of us thinks about our family is similarly lopsided. We tend to think or be more preoccupied with the maternal or the paternal side. And it's rare, I think, for people to be very balanced and to have equal preoccupations on both sides. And just to exaggerate the point a bit, even as an issue holder begins to speak, we start on a bias. It's not a lie per se, but it's not the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
An allegiance, isn't it?
Exactly. It's an allegiance. And an allegiance isn't a lie, but it is selective.
It's positional.
And positional. Yeah. And it serves to reinforce those allegiances and positions and protect a certain narrative, which is not a lie per se, but just as we advance one kind of truth, we're also putting in the background another kind of truth.
Yes. We have this interesting sort of element in constellations where that position or allegiance is expressed through the spatial elements in the room.
Yeah.
So that we just take an adult child will stand perhaps near one particular parent or a grandparent, sibling, or an aunt or uncle. And as the constellation evolves, often through the addition of helpful truths and the use of sentences, their allegiance and position changes.
Yeah.
And there is in this capacity for a greater integration and a wholeness and a balance rather than it being quite so positional.
Mm. Now, the positional thing fascinates me because, again, I'm obviously in the mood for making bold statements, but I think Constellations reveals to us that where we are in a system is often more important than who we are in a system. Right. And I once ran a constellation for a man. I did a kind of reverse constellation because, to cut a long story short, I set up an issue and then asked who in the room is affected by this. So a generic issue. And it was to do with lying. And one man put his hand up and said, yeah, I'm a compulsive liar. I think he was telling the truth and saying that.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes, classic paradox. But what was interesting in that constellation was that what he described as lying was he was involved in the world of acting. And lying for him was really more trying out different personas or personae to see what kind of reaction he'd get. So the lie was a means of getting feedback, as it were. You know, what if I present myself like that? Does it go down well or not well? Do I get a rise out of this person or not? Am I attracted to this person or otherwise? Am I an annoyance to this person or not? There's a series of lies as experiments. And I suppose in a certain sense, all lies are experiments. They're experiments in untruth. You know, will this fly or not? How successful will my lie be? I think, you know, there's some extraordinary statistic about how many lies we all tell every day, you know, right from the email which says, I'm looking forward to seeing you, to, you know, sorry, I'm late, traffic, you know, whereas in fact, you were just overslept. But in a certain sense, every lie is an experiment with, it's an essay in its own success, you know, like, will I pull this off or not?
Well, it's interesting because if we think of the constellation, the lie is often, if it's a relationship that you want to keep, part of the aim is to stop the other from moving away from you.
Yeah.
If it's a bad, thin, paltry lie, that will be visible to the other. And they will be aware in that moment, but they're lying to me. And normally the impulse when someone is lying is not to move towards them, it's to move back, to move away from.
It is. And yet I think you've touched on an important paradox there, which is, in systemic terms, we could say the purpose of lying is to reinsure our belonging. Our motive is to make sure our belonging isn't compromised. Yes. I am lying to you. I'm not having an affair.
Yes.
Because I want to stay belonging to you.
Yes. At the level of the personal conscience, as opposed to
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the motivation for lying may nearly always be a belonging motivation or securing against non-belonging.
Yes, because if you really knew what I was doing,
yeah,
my belonging here is going to be compromised.
So maybe that's a systemic way of defining secrets and lies. I hold a secret which threatens my belonging. I tell a lie to secure my belonging.
Yes.
Because as soon as I embark on behavior which threatens my belonging, threatens my own exclusion, my anxiety, my vigilance shoots up inordinately, because that's the thing I'm most concerned in life.
Yes, but not so concerned that I didn't do the act.
But I didn't do it in the first place. Yes. Very good. So, yeah. Yes, it's that. How do I keep these two things? How do I do the act just enough not to compromise my belonging?
And to have it obscured enough,
have it obscured enough.
because often these things are revealed, and we have this statement in our common vocabulary. It wasn't the crime; it was the cover-up. So this is interesting. It's more that what becomes more judged as the lie of the act.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
It feels to some like a second crime, and that it was more purposeful.
Yes, because there's more knowledge, there's more manipulation.
And it occurs over time, doesn't it? The lies have to get repeated, extended, remembered. They become their own edifice.
Yeah. I was running a constellation online recently for a person in whose family there had been generations of sexual abuse. And what I found interesting about that in relation to the secrets and lies theme was that it probably fell into the category, which is an intermediate category we have, of the open secret. Everybody knew about it. You know, there was I can't remember, I think it started with the great-grandfather, and it just sort of, there were several perpetrators, you know, over time in this family. Yes, and it wasn't a secret in the sense that I don't think there was anybody, as far as I recall, there was nobody who didn't know this was going on. But nor was it confronted either. It was a kind of, we turned a blind eye to it, is the sort of feeling. So we have this intermediary category, the open secret, the truth to which a blind eye is turned, and there's a collusion which makes the truth secret even though it's shared. It's not a lie, people know it, although there's a lying intent behind the not sharing in some way, because it's as if it didn't exist.
Yes, it's cloaked, isn't it, at that moment?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say to you, have you ever had an issue holder or seeker lie to you? I mean, I have.
Well, I have had people, you know, give accounts of themselves which don't contain factual inaccuracies, but are pretty biased. I've had a couple of times things come to light later which show, oh, you weren't telling me the truth there. But it's very rare, but you have. So can you tell us a bit about that?
And you know, I understand the motivation for it.
Yeah.
Often it's about the number of children that they have had, or the number of conceptions they've had.
Yeah.
And their choices around that. And the problem with it is that when you're trying to create a systemic wholeness, because the constellation is working with the initially systemic conscience, that it shows up.
Yeah.
And so the only reason I know that, maybe there are hundreds who have lied to me, but the only reason I know in these cases is I had to say to the issue holder, this is happening. I'm not sure what's going on. Is there anything else you want to tell me? At which point they said, oh, well, I didn't, you know, because, and often they would say, because I thought it sounded bad. You know, so it was, understandably, it's a public setting. They were concerned about being shamed. So they trimmed the truth. But the constellation wouldn't flow, because there was crucial elements missing, which the interesting point is that they were in the room, but only known by the issue holder and seeker at that moment. They were a bit like you're covering up. They were felt, but they didn't have a narrative in the room.
Yes, I mean, I'm sure you've done this. You sometimes put in a representative for the unknown or the unnamed thing, the excluded element, whatever. And sometimes that elicits.
Yes. Sometimes I will do that if I have a sense of if I have a sense sometimes of something that the issue holder may not know, but it is important, and I just have a sense. It's not
Yeah.
a forensic knowing. And so I will represent, the secret or that which is relevant to this, or however I frame it.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me think there is probably as well as the open secret, this intermediary category, there's probably another category which is akin to forgetting. So the secret which I hold, but I've forgotten about. I'll give you an example. A long time ago, I was running a constellation for somebody, and I had a strong intuition that there was some suicide in the family. I said this to the issue holder. They said, no, not at all. Barking up the wrong tree. Fine. We started the constellation, and about 15 minutes into it, she suddenly goes, oh, yes, I've forgotten. Uncle George killed himself, or whatever, great Uncle George killed himself. Yes. Now, and that led to the resolution, actually. But so that's an interesting case. So was that a secret? It was a secret to herself. It was there in the psyche, but something either in her or in the system was holding it back from being revealed. Is that forgetting? Kind of.
But I think I would sort of probably imagine that there are certain events that happen in families, and they get communicated, but they have a wrapper.
Yeah.
And the wrapper says something like, do not remember, do not talk about, do not share with anyone outside this family.
Yeah.
And it can be said or it cannot be said. And if it's not said, it's just in the wrapper.
Yeah, it's a kind of code of silence, omerta, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We don't speak about this.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that is often communicated very powerfully.
Yeah.
And so I think, this is an intelligent woman sitting with you. When you raise that issue, she is in the state of this forgetting, this innocent forgetting within the family.
Yes, which, as you said earlier, is a kind of form of allegiance, actually.
It is an allegiance.
I'm forgetting on behalf of the family, for whom this is too much. It contravenes our self-understanding, our myth about ourselves, our narrative.
Yeah, and too painful that we were impotent to stop this act happening.
Yeah. Yes, secrets and lies. We touched on untruths as well, these intermediary spaces, the open secret, the forgetting. I mean, I think it's probably worth, maybe we're nearly at the end here. I just want to make a distinction, because I think sometimes constellations can feel a bit like a trial. Like, let's get all the elements out here. Let's all get the evidence into court, and we'll see what was really the case, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And we'll hold people to account and know what happened. Because there are elements of that, and especially when we're talking about secrets and lies, which in a sense, we don't want to collude with, and constellations, like a court of law, doesn't wish to collude with, and it almost exists to overcome. But in case people listening to this are thinking, yes, constellations is a bit like a court of law, I think it's worth saying it's not, because we're not seeking to judge people or issue sentences upon people, and we're not in a realm of crime and punishment or retribution or revenge or even justice, and particularly judgment as a facet of justice is almost universally in constellations unhelpful. So even where secrets have been maintained, lies have been told, the way forward is not a judgment. You're a liar, you're a bad person, therefore you should be judged or excluded. It's almost exactly the reverse. You're a secret keeper, you're a liar, and now we've revealed it, you're all the more welcome. You have a place.
It is, you are a member of our family.
Yeah.
And you and your secrets, actions and lies all belong.
Yeah, exactly. Nicola, I think we should probably begin to wrap up there. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you to everybody for watching or listening to us. Please do go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That keeps us motivated to keep recording. Do please like it and subscribe, write comments. If you'd like to follow up with either of us, you're very welcome to do so. Nicola has a website you can go to, nicoladunnconstellations.com. You can sign up for one of her workshops, for example, if you'd like to, or trainings. And mine is robertrowlandsmith.com. But we'll leave it for there. So thank you very much, Nicola.
Thank you, Robert.